Okay, let's get started. Thank you for attending the October Transportation U AZ event, which is the virtual tour of the Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport and the Phoenix Sky Train. Transportation U is a national hands-on interactive mentoring program that offers young girls ages 13 through 18 an introduction to a wide variety of transportation careers. It is connected to Women's Transportation Seminar, or WTS, which is a women's organization for transportation professionals. I am Michael Book, a strategic communications specialist at HDR. HDR is an international company specializing in engineering, architecture, environmental, and construction services. I work out of the Phoenix office. If you have any program or event questions, you can send me an email at michael.book@hdrinc.com. My email address is being placed in the chat right now. This event is also supported by Shelby Blashford, Engagement Specialist at WTS International, and Bree Balke, Community Relations Coordinator at Valley Metro. Before we get started with our virtual tour, I would like to briefly discuss the Transportation U program for this school year. I'm setting up either an online speaker or online facility tour each month throughout the school year. There's usually nothing scheduled for December or May and during the summer months. You can always stay connected to learn more about upcoming events or recorded sessions by connecting on Facebook or Instagram using the keywords Transportation U AZ. Each June, Transportation U has an annual summit in Washington, D.C. In the past, the Arizona chapter has sent one program participant and paired them with a mentor to make the trip. I understand we have individuals, both female and male, attending from around the country for these Arizona chapter events. I welcome all of you and thank you for attending, but please note, only Transportation U AZ program, female, juniors or seniors in high school are eligible to be selected for the summit. The 2021 event will be dependent on the status of the COVID-19 pandemic. In the next few months, I will provide more details. Our next program event is already scheduled. On November 13th, Desba Hathali, City Policy and Government Affairs Manager for Waymo, will be speaking about her company, which is an American autonomous driving technology development company, her role, and how she got to be where she is today. The link to registration for the November event is being placed in the chat right now. And now for today's virtual tour, I will turn the presentation over to Jason Gitgen, who is the Manager of Community Outreach and Events at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. Thank you for joining us today, Jason.
Thank you, Michael. And Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport is really excited to present today. We have an awesome speaker, subject matter expert here today, Ann Kurtenbach. Her official title is Special Projects Administrator with our design and construction, but she is the main person for the Phoenix Sky Train that's being built, and she's got a great presentation today. And I'm not going to take up any more time. I'm going to turn this over to Ann. Ann, they're all yours.
Thanks, Jason, and thank you, Michael. And hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm very excited to be able to present to you as the Transportation U group. The tours every year are one of my favorites and an event that I look forward to every year. We usually do this in person, so it's a unique opportunity for us to be able to present this to you as a virtual tour and presentation. So I will go ahead and get started and share my screen here. All right. So today's presentation, as I mentioned, is about the Phoenix Sky Train. We'll provide an overview of the project and a virtual tour. But let's first talk about what airports are and what they do. Airports are very important not only to our regional transportation system and our global transportation system, but also to Arizona our economy and the vitality of our state. The airport is important in that we're able to move aircraft in not only our national air transportation system in the United States, but globally as well, and our international travel connections. We connect business and travelers, business and leisure travelers to not only Phoenix and Arizona, but to the world. We allow our local travelers to reach any worldwide destination, but we also support our Air National Guard, operates out of Sky Harbor. We have a large air cargo operation. That would be our UPS, our FedEx, and of course, Amazon. Everybody knows Amazon, right? They have a very large operation where all those packages and all those orders come into the valley and into Arizona through Sky Harbor. And then also at the airport, our Sky Harbor International Airport provides traveler services such as restaurants, shops, rental cars, and the like. Some facts about Sky Harbor is we happen to be one of the busiest airports in the United States. And before the COVID pandemic happened earlier this year, last year we saw 46.3 million passengers come through the airport. We were on track to be our busiest year ever. Sky Harbor has 2 terminals, Terminal 3 and Terminal 4. We have 3 runways, and we have 1,200 flights that arrive and depart daily. We're home to 18 airlines that fly to 123 destinations. So airports are like small cities. And I say that because we have approximately 45,000 people that work at the airport. We also have our own police department. We have our own fire department. We also maintain our own buildings, roadways, and landscape. And we have our own trash and recycling services, all just for Sky Harbor. So why build a train? Well, if you didn't know, an average of 125,000 passengers fly through Sky Harbor on any given day. That's like hosting a Super Bowl game every single day and all of those people coming to the airport. So we get very busy, and there's a lot of traffic into and out of the airport. Because of our location being located so close and within the city core, there's a lot of congestion, a lot of cut through traffic that use our Sky Harbor Boulevard to avoid the busy freeways and the congestion on the freeways. People cut through the airport. Our facilities are also very limited in the availability of curb space for parking. If you come to the airport and drop off or pick up maybe a friend or a family member, sometimes you can't get to the curb because it's too busy and there's congestion on the road, so you can't get up to the terminal. So we recognize that there's limited availability on our curb fronts for that traffic. So the SkyTrain is a people mover. Seems simple, right? The whole purpose of the SkyTrain is to move people. It's an automated transit system or train that operates on its own dedicated guideway, and it can transport more people and more efficiently than buses or automobiles. So the purpose of the SkyTrain is to help us relieve that terminal curb front and roadway congestion. We're able to reduce our bus operations. Buses take up a lot of space both on the curbs and on the roadways. It also provides us an alternative transportation system to provide connections between our terminal facilities, our parking facilities, and our regional transportation facilities like the light rail. So how does the train operate? Well, it operates every single day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And it moves pretty quickly. So if you were to travel from 44th Street to Terminal 3, which is the current line of the system, it would take you 7 minutes. If you were to do that in a bus, it would probably take you more like 20 minutes. It also is very convenient in that the trains will arrive at the stations every 3 to 4 minutes during our busiest times. Whereas with the buses, they tend to arrive every 10 to 12 minutes, sometimes longer if they get stuck in traffic on the boulevard. And the SkyTrain carries an average of 15,000 passengers per day. That's a lot. Our vehicles are driverless and electric powered. So they run on a very sophisticated computer system. But don't worry, it's supervised by professionals who are trained in operating the train system. and can monitor the system for any issues that may cause it to temporarily stop or have any other issues. The train is ADA accessible, which means people of all abilities can get on and off the train very easily. We currently have 18 cars in our fleet that can carry an average of 53 people per car. We currently operate in a 2-car train, so we can carry over 100 people on our trains, as opposed to buses that can typically only carry 25 to 30 people. So you can already see how the train will help us to move more people more efficiently. So let's talk about the train and the project and how it helps the airport and what it connects everything to. So this is an overview of the map of the train system. So once completely built out, it will connect the 44th Street station, which is up here in the top right hand of your screen, with the light rail connection. It'll connect all the way through the airport following the blue line, our East Economy parking, which is the largest facility that we have for parking spaces on the east side of the airport, to Terminal 4, and then to Terminal 3. So that's the current system today. Now what's under construction is the rest of the system, which will connect from Terminal 3 all the way over to the rental car center, which is on the far left-hand side of your screen. And we'll talk more about that later on in the presentation. So as I mentioned, stage 1 was built to connect 44th Street to Terminal 4. We started construction in 2009 and we opened for passenger service in 2013. The first phase consisted of 3 stations and, as I mentioned, 18 train cars. What's unique about the first stage of the SkyTrain project is we were the first mass transit system to cross over an active taxiway at an airport. This was a big deal and required a lot of communication and coordination with the Federal Aviation Administration to even give us permission to do this. The bridge spans 340 feet wide, which is the wingspan of a 747 aircraft, which is the largest aircraft that can travel in and out of Sky Harbor. The bridge is above 80 feet above the taxiway and 100 feet above the boulevard, which sits just below the taxiway. So let's start at the 44th Street station. This station is the gateway to Sky Harbor International Airport, and it was situated at 44th Street and Washington in order to provide a connection to the regional metro light rail system. It has a lot of amenities at this facility. You can drop off and pick up so that you don't have to come into the airport in the terminal core. Again, I mentioned those curbs can get very busy. So this is a convenient way to quickly drop off your friends and loved ones or pick them up without having to deal with the airport traffic. There's also a cell phone lot. So if you wanted to stop and wait, you could park here and wait for your friends and loved ones to take the train to come meet you at the parking lot. We've also developed a lot of employee parking up at this facility for our employees by relocating our employees who previously parked in our parking garages or our economy parking lots. We move them up to this station so they can take the train to arrive quickly at work and also to free up those spaces in our parking facilities for revenue. Every one of our capital improvement projects has a set aside amount within our budgets for public art. Public art is very important to us at Sky Harbor. We have a very robust art program. We have our own museum with our own galleries, and this carries over into our facilities as well. So all of our new facilities work with local artists to create an art component which is integrated into the design of the facility. So you can see here a couple of pictures of the artwork that's at the 44th Street station. On the left-hand side is the art ceiling, which is a lit blue ceiling, and these little tiles in the ceiling actually move. This is an open breezeway at the station. So when there's airflow through here, these tiles move and appears to be what looks like water. On the right-hand side are the 2 terrazzo floors. that are installed. The top picture is the actual platform of the train station where you would get on and off the train. And then the bottom picture is the terrazzo floor that is in the connector bridge between the SkyTrain station and the light rail station on Washington Street. Our East Economy station, again, is located in our East Economy parking lot, which is currently our largest economy parking facility with over 10,000 spaces spread out between a surface lot and 2 parking garages. And here at this station, you can see on the bottom picture on the right-hand side, it's an open air facility with the terrazzo on the upper right-hand side. You can see there the brightly colored pattern of the floor. And the artist here wanted to depict what it looks like, what Phoenix and Arizona looks like as you're flying overhead to come into the airport. So you can see the various topography of the desert with the mountains and the agriculture and our canal system. So this facility, because it's so large and has so many parking spaces, we do have a parking area circulator, which you can see in the other left-hand picture up here at the top, that will provide you a ride from the farthest parking space in the lot to the SkyTrain station. You can also drop off and pick up here. So if you're traveling with your family or a large group of friends, you can drop them off at the curb, then go park your car, hop on the circulator, and get back to the station in time to get on the train. And then next, the Terminal 4 station, as it says for itself, is located at Terminal 4. It sits on the south side of the terminal in between the southwest gates on the south side, the C and D gates, as we call them. There are 2 connector bridges that connect the station over Sky Harbor Boulevard to the terminal. The bottom left-hand photo that you can see here shows the artwork that was installed as part of the design of this station, which is, this is the connector bridge that has a stained glass art wall. And then on the right-hand side, again, is terrazzo that's been installed on the platform floor. Say that 10 times really fast. And then after stage 1 was built, we realized that we needed to connect the train from Terminal 4 to Terminal 3. Had we not done that, our passengers that were connecting between Terminal 4 and Terminal 3 would have taken the train, say, from the East Economy lot to Terminal 4. But if they were going to Terminal 3, they would have to get on a bus to continue their journey to Terminal 3. So we recognized right away that there was a critical need to complete the SkyTrain system to Terminal 3. And that happened very quickly. We started construction in 2011, even before the first stage opened, and we began passenger service in December of 2015. So just shy of 2 years, about 1.5 years after opening the stage 1 system. So you can see here at the bottom of the screen is Terminal 4. And the guideway extends to where the tower is, that's Terminal 3. And these 2 taxiways here in the middle, Sierra and Tango, we had to build the SkyTrain to go under these taxiways. So it's not a tunnel, but more like a trench that the train will pass under these 2 taxiways. And here's a couple pictures of the Terminal 3 station. Again, the terrazzo floor, which is common in our SkyTrain stations, again, as part of the public art program. And then here is a picture at the bottom that shows the perspective from ground level. So let's take a ride. So if you were to come to the airport today, this would be your experience on the SkyTrain system. So let's say we've just arrived at the 44th Street station, perhaps coming off the light rail system. We board the train and we're heading into the airport. You can see here we're exiting the station and coming into the first stop, which is the East Economy lot station. Here are those 2 parking garages I talked to you about, which were existing when we started construction of the SkyTrain, and we had to build this station in between those 2 existing facilities. It was kind of like threading a needle. And then here you can see some more shots of the station that gives you an idea of how it's situated in the parking facility. Now, as we leave East Economy, our next stop's going to be Terminal 4. And now we're going over Taxiway Romeo, which I talked to you about. Unfortunately, there's not an airplane going underneath the bridge at this time, but you can see how high it is and how wide it is. And now we've arrived at the Terminal 4 station. You can see the Southwest C and D gates on the left-hand side there. And then continuing on to Terminal 3, we have left Terminal 4 and are now arriving at Terminal 3, which is the current end to the current system. So that's as far as you can go today. And then here's a picture of what it looks like as you're arriving at Terminal 3. So that's the SkyTrain today. Let's talk about what we're doing now. So we're currently building the final segment of the SkyTrain system, which is called Stage 2. And it will connect, as I mentioned, from Terminal 3 to the rental car center. We started construction in 2018. We're building an additional 2.5 miles of guideway with 2 additional stations and opportunity for a future station to be planned further down the line in the future. And we've also added additional train vehicles to our fleet. And this segment of the system will open in the summer of 2022, which isn't that far away. So here's what's currently under construction. So you can see here on the far right-hand side of your screen is Terminal 3, where the train ends today. And then the blue line is the guideway, or what the surface that the SkyTrain system operates on. It will follow this blue line all the way to the end. So this first green box is the future terminal station. We know in the future that we're going to build another airport terminal, and we wanted to make sure that that terminal facility had a SkyTrain connection. So we've made the initial improvements here to accommodate a station in the future. We also know that as the airport continues to grow and there are more flights coming into and out of the airport, that we're going to have to improve our airfield operations, which will require 2 new taxiways to connect the North Airfield and the South Airfield. These taxiways are called Taxiway U and V, or Uniform and Victor in the airport alphabet. You can see them in these 2 yellow lines here. And since we know that in the future those taxiways are going to be built, we had to make accommodation with the SkyTrain to be able to go under those taxiways in the future. So much like the taxiways Sierra and Tango that I talked about between Terminal 3 and Terminal 4, we had to build the same facility for the SkyTrain to go underneath these taxiways in the future. I'll show you some pictures and talk about that a little bit more further in the presentation. Then that brings us to our first station, which is 24th Street here in the red box. This is located at 24th Street and Buckeye Roads. And this will be an important facility to the airport when the SkyTrain opens, because there will be additional parking facilities that will be associated with this station that will allow us to increase our parking capacity on the west side of the airport, like we have at the East Economy lot on the east side of the airport. The train then travels over 24th Street and will go under the I-10 freeway, then regaining elevation and arriving at the rental car center station, which is this red box. This is our rental car facility that was built in 2006, so it already exists, and we're putting a station right on top of it. So now I'd just like to show you a couple pictures of the facilities for the Stage 2 expansion of the SkyTrain system. This is the 24th Street station, which I mentioned will provide additional parking spaces, also a drop-off and pickup curb. Just like the 44th Street station, we'll be providing the same level of service at this station for cell phone lots, short-term parking, long-term parking, and drop-off and pickup. Again, this helps us to move a lot of that traffic out of the center of the airport to these facilities that are out further to improve the traffic and help people move around and get to their flights a lot easier and a lot more quickly. Just a few more shots from inside the station. At the top of the screen is a picture of the design. When architects are planning and designing projects, they do these renderings, which are based on the drawings and models that show you what the facility is going to look like. And then you can see on the bottom there, the construction progress that shows we're right on track with how we wanted it to look. And again, talking more about public art, as I mentioned, it's very important to the airport and to our capital improvement projects that we have these art components. This is the terrazzo floor that's designed for the 24th Street SkyTrain station. You can see here that the artist wanted to incorporate a lot of the desert floral and vegetation that you often see, perhaps if you're hiking Powesta Peak or Camelback Mountain or South Mountain. These are some of the things that you'll see. And then here's just a perspective. If you were standing on the SkyTrain platform waiting for the train to arrive, this is what the terrazzo will look like. And then at the rental car center station, you can see here at the left-hand side of your screen, this is the rental car center, and the station is situated right on top of it, out front of the bus deck that brings, the buses currently bring folks who have rented cars and arriving at the airport. People arrive by bus, that you can see the buses here in the photo at the rental car center station. When the train opens and is connected to the rental car center, we will no longer be busing, but people will arrive on the train. And what's unique about this train station is all of our other train stations are what we call center platforms. And that means that people getting on and off the train use the same center platform, which is this blue bar here. What's unique about this station is we have 3 platforms. So as you come into the station, you will come in and you will actually get off the train on these outside platforms. So if the train comes in on this track, on where it says train guideway there on the white, you'll get off on this brown platform there and exit the station and come into the rental car center. So this will help us to move a lot more people so that we don't have the cross traffic on the platform and the congestion. It's just a more efficient way of controlling people getting on and off the train. And then this just shows a picture on the bottom right-hand side of how the station is situated on the existing rental car structure. Just a few photos about the design images are on the top, and the construction progress photos are on the bottom. So you can see how the facility is coming along and coming to fruition. This is the perspective if you just rented a car at the rental car and you've returned your car. Say you came for vacation with your family and you just dropped off your rental car at the rental car center, and now you need to get on the train and head to the airport to your terminal to catch your flight. As you exit the rental car center, this is what the perspective will look like as you enter the SkyTrain station. And then this is just another viewpoint from the inside, where if you're standing on the platform waiting for the train, this is what the inside of the station looks like. And this terrazzo here you can see is brightly colored, kind of looks like a kaleidoscope, if you will, of colors. This is the terrazzo floor as you're standing on that platform. That's what it will look like. And then also another art installation as part of this station is we have a screen wall. Because the 2 exterior platforms where you exit the train are open, they're open air, we wanted to provide some level of screening. Not only did we need a barrier between the platform and the exterior area of the station, but we wanted to provide some protection against the elements. We don't get a lot of weather here, but when we do, it rains, sometimes rains sideways, we get wind, we get dust, and we wanted to be able to protect the passengers from that as they're exiting the train. So we came up with an artist who presented a screen wall. And you can see here that these are a series of cylinder tubes that are painted different colors. And as you walk along the wall here, the wall will appear to change colors. So much like the kaleidoscope of the terrazzo floor, these colors are also coordinated with that and works very well with that floor. So what will the train be like in stage 2? Not much is going to change in the way of operations. The system will continue to operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Trains will arrive at the stations 3 to 4 minutes, so very frequently. And if you were to get on the train and go from 44th Street to the rental car center and then back to 44th Street, you would be on the train for about 27 minutes. So if you go from Terminal 3 to the rental car center, it'll be just about 6 minutes. And from Terminal 4 to the rental car center, just a little over 7 minutes. So that's a huge improvement over what it would be like to ride a bus. So now let's take a virtual tour of what it will be like to ride the train once it's complete and connects to the rental car center. So we'll start off by leaving Terminal 3, and we're going to head west. What you see here in the foreground is Terminal 2, which actually was recently demolished. So we only have Terminal 3 and Terminal 4. And here we're coming into the area that will be our future terminal, and that platform right there will have the SkyTrain station situated upon it. Now we're going underneath those two taxiways I talked about, Uniform and Victor, and then coming into the 24th Street station, where you can see we have the large parking facility and the area to drop off and pick up. So we go over 24th Street, and then we're going to come down to ground level so that we can go under the I-10 freeway. And then we'll regain elevation in order to come up and connect to the rental car center. And you can see the SkyTrain station sitting there in front. So that's what it will be like when the current construction is complete in 2022. Whoops. And then finally, I'd just like to conclude my presentation with a couple of fun facts about Sky Harbor Airport. Some things maybe you didn't know or maybe don't even think about. But I don't know if you knew that we sell $1.2 million of gum each year. We've processed more than 18.65 million bags in 2018. We sell more than 12,000 cups of coffee each day. We have over 24,000 parking spaces at Sky Harbor, both in our garages and our economy parking lots. And in case you didn't know, you can tell this to all your friends and sound like you are in the know and you have the secrets of Sky Harbor International Airport, that peanut M&Ms are the best-selling candy with over 165,000 packages sold. So I hope you've enjoyed the presentation today and maybe learned a thing or two. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. And again, it's been a pleasure to be able to present to you today.
Thank you, Anne. So everyone at this time, if you do have any questions, please either type them in the Q&A section and not the chat. If you would like to ask a question directly to Anne, you can click at the bottom of the screen on participants, then click on the raise your hand option. Bree will then call your name and unmute you so you can ask your question. But remember, after the question has been asked and addressed, please click the raise your hand option again so your raised hand is removed. Go ahead and submit your questions or raise your hand now. Bree, do we have any questions?
We don't have any questions yet, but I have a question. How did you choose your career path?
Thanks, Bree. Actually, it kind of happened. If you had told me when I went to college or even in high school that I would be building a people mover, I would have told you, what? I didn't know what a people mover was. I had no experience in construction, but I happen to be a good project manager. And a good project manager is someone who can work and lead with a team of people and can collaborate, pays attention to details, and can keep people on task, and is a good communicator. And I think I had demonstrated those skills, and so I got asked to come to the airport. I've been with the city for 20 years. I've worked in the mayor's office. I've worked in the city manager's office. My background is in political science and in public administration. So typically very generalist. And so when I was asked to come to the airport, I didn't know what the people mover was. I'm not an architect, I'm not an engineer, but I had those soft skills that were important to the success of the project. And I had to learn the technical aspects of the job on the job while I was doing it. So I learned what people movers were. All the people I work with are typically engineers and architects. It's unusual for someone like me to not have those technical certifications or the education, but it's not impossible. And more as the industry evolves, the technical skills are something you can learn and acquire, but those soft skills are really what's important. And being a good team leader and being able to collaborate with folks and work with a large group of people to accomplish a goal.
Now, Becky has a really good question. It's, what is the most challenging part of the job, and what is the most exciting part?
Well, let me start with the exciting part first. And what I love about my job and what I do is projects take a long time, from planning to design to funding to building, but it's the building part that's the most exciting. And it seems like it takes forever to get to the building part. But as I showed you in the presentation with those pictures of the architect's rendering of what the project's going to look like, and then as you see that develop through construction, and at the end of the project, you can see it, touch it, feel it, smell it, and you have something to look to that's concrete and tangible, and you can say, we did that, you know, we were a part of that, we made that happen, is very fulfilling, and it's exciting to see that come to fruition. The challenge is a lot of these projects are very complex, and the challenge is they take a long time. You have to plan for them well in advance, and then you have to design. A lot of times your design has to take into account how that facility is going to function and operate and what the needs are going to be well into the future, because you're designing something that's not going to even open for 4, 5, 6 years. So you have to be able to create a facility or a transportation mode or system that's going to accommodate things, growth into the future, and even from day one when it opens. So I would say that's the biggest challenge, but it's very rewarding.
Another question is, what is a typical day like for you on the job?
Well, some days, not all days are exciting. Quite honestly, I spend a lot of time in meetings. We meet a lot with our engineers, our contractors, our budget people to make sure that the project is on track, that we're staying on budget, we're staying on schedule. So a lot of it is meetings with a lot of different groups of people. We have a lot of stakeholders at the airport and outside of the airport that rely on our facilities and our infrastructure and our projects. I give a lot of presentations like this, a lot of tours. So it's a lot of meeting with a lot of different people. I work with a lot of different people. And then on some days, I actually get out to go play in the field, is what we call it, and actually get eyes on the project as it's being built and coming together.
You had mentioned that your background was in political science and public administration. What type of education do you think these different positions at the airport and with the SkyTrain involve for somebody?
Well, I work in design and construction services, and so we're responsible for all of the development and all of the construction on our airports, which also includes Deer Valley and Goodyear. Those are also part of the Phoenix airport system. And so we build runways, we build facilities, roadways, everything that allows the airports to operate is what we're responsible for, and we build. And as I mentioned, a lot of the folks in our division are architects or engineers. We have drafting technicians, so they have experience in CAD, being able to read plan sets. We have planners. But we also have a lot of generalists, and we have people who have to keep our budgets going. So we have accountants and budget supervisors and administrative support. We couldn't function without them to help with us. So there's a variety of jobs, not only in our division, but at the airport that require a breadth of different educational backgrounds. But again, What I have learned in my 20 years at the city and my 13 years at the airport is that just because you have one degree doesn't limit you to what you can do. And that's the beauty of being part of such a large organization, is that you can start in one track and end up somewhere totally completely different. Like I ended up in the political track and now I'm in construction, and never would have guessed. So that's what keeps it exciting. So I would just say, if I had to give advice to anybody about, what should I do? Should I, go into engineering? Should I go into technology or CAD? I would say go where it interests you the most and what your passion is, and then figure out how you can apply it later, because you just never know. Opportunity is around every corner, and you can really make your education fit into just about anything. And again, those soft skills are what's so important. You can have the technical skills, you can be the greatest architect, but if you can't talk to people, you're not going to be very successful. You can be a really great engineer, but if you can't manage a schedule or conduct a meeting, you're not going to be very successful. So I think that would be my advice to everyone wanting to go into this field.
Another really interesting question would be, now we've been dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. What things are being done with the SkyTrain cars and the facilities, and what other differences have you experienced?
So since the pandemic happened early this year, the airport has taken very aggressive cleaning measures, not only in our facilities, but on the SkyTrain and on our buses. So we're practicing social distancing, and we've put things in place to encourage and facilitate social distancing, like the 6 feet markers. We've also installed plexiglass dividers at all of our customer facing locations. We're dispensing hand sanitizer and masks. Masks are required at the airport. And with the SkyTrain, we have fewer people riding the trains. And we've also increased the frequency of our cleaning. We clean them anyway, and we would clean fairly frequently. Our train cars are always very clean, but we've introduced sanitizing. We didn't used to always sanitize, but now COVID-19 has created this awareness for us and the need to disinfect and sanitize all of our high touch areas. And so we're doing that on a very frequent basis. But the standard applies airport wide, whether you're in an airport facility, you're on a train or on a bus. Rest assured that those facilities and train cars and buses are clean, they're disinfected, and we're doing all of this to protect our community and our passengers.
Last call for questions. If anyone has a question that they've thought of, go ahead and type it on in. Okay, I don't see any more questions.
Okay. Thank you, Bree. And thank you very much, Anne and Jason. And thank you everyone for joining us today for the Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport and Phoenix Sky Train virtual tour. This session has been recorded and will be available on the WTS Metro Phoenix chapter website. In the next day, I will send meeting participants the link to access. The link will also be available on the Transportation U AZ Facebook and Instagram social media sites. Please forward the recorded virtual tour link to other teachers, students, or other individuals who didn't have a chance to attend today's event. A reminder, on November 13th from 9 to 10 a.m. Arizona time, Desba Hathali, City Policy and Government Affairs Manager, will be presenting information about Waymo and her role in the company. Please join us again. And once again, I am Michael Book. If you have any program or event questions, please send me an email at michael.book@hdrinc.com. Again, thanks for joining us and have a wonderful day.